Hi, Susan Campfield here with SueStampfield.com. Today I'm going to share with you how to decorate this cute little treat holder with our little froggy. And this is using the Petite treat framelit dies from Stampin' Up. So you want to watch part 1 video where I share how to assemble the treat holders. Very easy. And in this video I'm going to share with you how to decorate our little frog. So let's get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started decorating our cute little froggy here. So again, I started with the Petite treat framelit dies from Stampin' Up, and I've already made that piece, so watch that in part 1 video. And then this stamp set is bundled with the dies, so you can purchase these two together and get half off. And that's how I made the little greeting on the back of our treat holder. I used the thanks for being so sweet. Thank you for being so sweet. But I think that it's a real treat. Being friends with you would be cute too. Or if you had somebody that had a cold and was under the weather, you could fill this with little cough drops. And you could put the Get Well Soon on the back. That would be cute as well. So let's go ahead and get started. We've got kind of our blank slate here ready to be decorated. So I'll bring in our sample as well. I'm going to start by doing his eyes. That's always the easiest place to start, I think. And so I'm going to start with a 3/4 inch circle punch and a strip of Whisper White cardstock. And I'm just going to punch out the whites of my eyes, and then I'm going to take a strip of basic black cardstock and my 1/2 inch circle punch. Love my circle punches. I use them all the time to do the pupils of the eyes. So we're going to take some glue dots and just stick those on. Just peel back the wax paper, stick them on the glue dot, and then push hard. Then pull it up, and now the glue dot is transferred to your paper, and push it onto your project. There we go. And then I'm also going to use glue dots to put the eyes on this project. If you watched my video where I decorated this into the little birds, for the birds I actually used dimensionals to do the eyes because they went down lower over that folded area, but on the frog they're a little bit higher, so those can just go on with glue dots. So you can see our frog is starting to take shape here. Let's go to the mouth section. So for the mouth, I used my layering oval dies. I'm going to pull those in here so I can show you which one I used. So these are the layering oval dies. And I used this one, which is the second from the smallest. So second up from smallest, smooth-sided oval die. And I just cut that out. And that's going to be my frog's mouth and muzzle, I guess. So to draw the mouth, I'm going to use a template. This is a 2-inch circle punch that I punched out. And you can see that we used this for my Big Shot class. There's lots of people that used this little piece. And I'm just going to hold it down, actually got a little adhesive on the back so it doesn't slide on me, and stick it on my piece. And then I'm just going to use my black journaling pen. And this is the 05. You get 2 in the pack, a skinny one and a fatter one. This is the fatter of the 2. And just to draw that smile. And I'll go back with my marker and just make some little half moons here, kind of a Kermit the Frog deal going there for the rest of the smile. And then I'm going to do a little sponging on that. I want that piece to really pop. Now the designer series paper that I used to make the base of my treat holder here, my Petite Treat Framelit die piece, is the Tropical Escape designer series paper from Stampin' Up. Lots of fun colors in here. This is on these sides, you're going to see a lot of greens and whites. And on this side, you've got some pinks and other greens and flowers. And so I used the, a couple different patterns for this one. And it has mostly Granny Apple Green. So this is Granny Apple Green cardstock that I'm using to form the body. Also, we have in here some Shaded Spruce, which is a darker green. And so I'm going to take my Shaded Spruce ink pad and just open that up. And I'm going to take a little sponge dauber and just get a little ink on my dauber. And I'm just going to lightly flick around the edges. I know you can just barely see this, but this is a very dark color. And I just want a little bit. So you can see I'm just flicking around the edges. That's just going to highlight that edge and make it stand out just a little bit for my frog so that it doesn't disappear, especially on this one because it's a little more similar color. Although I do like the spots. They look like more like real frog skin. So I'm going to close my ink pad back up here. And this one I am going to mount with dimensionals. So I'm going to pull my dimensionals in here. And I'm going to put two. You can see I messed up a mouth on the back of this one. Love that two-sided paper. And so we can just put that right onto our frog. Just like that. And that's going to pop up because of those dimensionals. And you see I have my eye a little bit high. That's the nice thing about the glue dots. You can just pop that off and slide it down a little bit so that it's all lined up. There we go. Now we're ready to do the frog's body. I'm going to start with the 2-inch circle punch. And I punched a granny apple green piece for the belly, so that's going to be right there. And that I'm actually going to put just a little strip of tear and tape right in the center. Now why would I use tear and tape on this? I'm using dimensionals and glue dots and liquid glue for the rest. The reason I'm using tear and tape is the tummy on this frog goes on kind of a rounded portion, and I just really did not want that to fall off. So I'm going with the big guns here. This is the tear and tape that we're also using to put our piece together. I'm going to pop that frog open so that I can just press on that tear and tape and make sure that that's going to stick really well. So there we have our frog's tummy. Now we're going to do the legs. So for the legs, I used one of my favorite punches. This is the Fox Builder punch. And so it makes all sorts of cute little foxy friends with the stamp set or without. And so I use several pieces on here. For the leg, I use the tail, and then this piece, which is like the tuft of the tip of the end of the tail. Oops, maybe that end. And I just punched that out and took a tiny bit of liquid glue and adhered that foot onto the leg. And so the legs are just going to attach right behind. I'm going to use, go back to the glue dots for that. Although you could certainly use liquid glue if you prefer. Some of my crafters that come to my classes prefer liquid glue, and some prefer the glue dots. And then we'll attach the other leg. You do want to make sure the legs are going opposite, so when you punch out one tail, you'll flip it over. And the same with that, the tip of the tail. So, sorry, pull my glue dots out of the shot there. There we go. Whoops. So just make sure you've got them in the right spot. And then for the arms, I also used the Fox Builder punch, and that's this piece here, which forms the mask or the alternative spot on the frog face, or you can also make a raccoon with this. And so that's kind of the mask, I guess I would call that. And those pieces are going to just tuck in right here on the side. So for those, I actually am going to go to the liquid glue. I like to use this little votive holder to keep my liquid glue in. And I have some pens in there if I need to poke a hole in the end. Sometimes it closes up. So I'm just going to put 2 little dots of liquid glue on here. And I'm going to let those dry a little bit because I can see I've got quite a bit on there. And if I push it on right now, it's going to kind of ooze out. So I'm going to slide those aside for a minute and keep going on our little froggy here. So there's one more piece that I used, and that is the, I should say another set of dies that I used for this, and that's the stitch label dies, just for the little stitched heart. You wouldn't have to use the dies, you could use just another heart that you get off of a punch. This is quite a large set of dies that you can do a lot with, and I just love the little stitching detail around the edge of that heart, so that's why I used it. So I've got my little stitched heart. I punched this. I've got my little stitched heart here. I die cut this out of the lovely lipstick cardstock, which is a kind of a pink red, but nice and bright, and I really like the contrast of that. on this Granny Apple Green. So you can see our little frog coming together. I'm going to go ahead and push these arms on. That glue is not quite dry, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. And I kind of like to tuck the arm behind the leg a little bit. It looks more arm-like to me that way, or you can have it in front of the leg, your choice. But I've just got it kind of like he's got it bent at the elbows there. And there we have, you can see a little bit of that glue oozing out because I didn't let it dry all the way. That's okay. Push it back in a little bit. And there we have our little frog. So these are two different patterns of that Tropical Escape paper. And then I used the library clips to clip it closed so that the treat doesn't fall out. And for the treat inside of this one, I used an Andes Creme de Mint, which is one of my favorites. Mostly because the color worked really well with the project. I wanted something green. So that's how we make our fun little frog. Have a great time with these Petite Treat Framelit dies. They are adorable. And if you wanted to do a make your frog a female, you could certainly take a little of the lovely lipstick ribbon and just add a little bow there for your frog. So thanks so much for joining me today. You can see additional projects with the Petite Treat Framelit dies, some other critters that I made, when you go to www.suestampfield.com. Bye-bye.